Thank you so much to our host, Lyceum of the Philippines University, to the lead person who runs the project, XMS Consultancy, Shamir. Thank you so much. I know you have done a lot of work. To the Bayleaf Hotel, Manila, and Taylor's University. Also thanks to the board members who actually took the trouble to come all the way. And I'm sorry to hear about the calamity that hit Manila. It's called Typhoon Karina, right? Yeah. Such a beautiful name for someone who does so much of destruction. So I wonder why they gave such a beautiful name to typhoons. You know? So I'm very sorry about what has happened. In fact, that morning when we were traveling here, when we were all sitting down, we were saying that whether the flight will take off or not, we were also not sure. We were also not sure. So I think Dr. Lilibet said it beautifully just now during her speech that we came and we brought the sunshine. Yes. But actually, during lunch, I had a different joke to all those who were with me. I said 2 years ago when we went to, was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago. 3 years ago when we went to Phuket for a similar ATRA forum, there was a big rain and landslide in Phuket until the road was damaged and we couldn't actually take the usual road, but we had to take a detour. That was the calamity that happened in Phuket when ATRA went there. This time when we are coming to Manila, it's another one that hit you, which is the typhoon. So I was telling them that maybe we shouldn't be going anywhere. Just sit down in your place and just do your conference at home. Maybe that is better. A lot of people, I don't know, lately used to ask me, why did you started this association? It was actually inspired, just to share a little bit of the history of ASEAN Tourism Research Association. It was inspired by someone who was an advisor to the Ministry of Higher Education back in 2011. He called me and he said, why don't you start something that's very different from others? Do something because you are so known in tourism. Why don't you do something that's different from others? So when we were discussing, we kind of resolve it. Maybe, okay, I find 5 universities and we create a network of 5 universities that can do a lot of work together. From research, joint research, student exchange, mobility, whatnot that you are all doing. And the question is, which 5 universities do we need to actually look for? And many universities are already doing this kind of a partnership. So what else can we do that is different? Then over that discussion, I thought maybe if you say you want to do something in Asia, Asia is too big. It includes Hong Kong. But if you say it is Southeast Asia, it's more niche. It's only 10 countries, and all these 10 countries are emerging countries. Countries that should be working together and synergize their activities and their resources for something good. So I said, okay, let's start ASEAN Tourism Research Association. Why don't we do that? After bouncing it off with a couple of people, and I went back to the advisor of the ministry and said, why don't we start this? He said, well, it's a brilliant idea. I asked you to think, but you think big. You wanted an association for the entire region. I say, yes, why don't we just do it? But in 2012, when we started lobbying, to start something like this, you need to lobby. You need to lobby ASEAN Secretariat because the word ASEAN is protected. You cannot simply use the word ASEAN. So I need to ask permission to use the word ASEAN. In order to do that, I engaged the first Secretary General of ASEAN Secretariat called Tan Sri Ajit Singh. He's a Malaysian. He's the first one. If you Google, you can find him. He's quite old now. So about 15 years ago, I engaged him. I said, can you help me lobby to ASEAN Secretariat because he is very well known in ASEAN. Can you help me lobby? He said, okay, why not? So of course I engaged him as a consultant. and he started doing the lobbying. I needed to do the lobbying with different universities in ASEAN to accept this idea. So among the first few universities at that time, University of the Philippines, where Miguela is, I think I'm sure all of you know her. She was the first one to carry a hand and said, I would like to come and join this group. Then you had, of course, Dr. Pon Pisanu's University, Prince Songkla University, said at that time was, what's the name again? Pratana, yes, Dr. Pratana was the dean, and she said, yes, why not, I would like to join. And then we had participation from Cambodia, and the other one was Indonesia. Yeah, I think we had another university from Indonesia. The last one to join was Singapore. And Singapore, of course I joke, I say because it's a Malaysian idea, Singapore won't join. But, okay, it's just a joke. But Singapore, while they were among the last to agree to join, but they were the most active at that time, because the Singapore Tourism Board chairman, the director himself, Lawrence, I remember his name, he was very excited with this idea of this association for ASEAN tourism. He said, ASEAN needs something like this, because we don't have a group of people who can think tourism for ASEAN. So he invited us for some workshops and all that when the tourism plan was developed. The tourism plan was the ASEAN Tourism Strategic Plan 2016-2025. At that time was 2015, I think, when we were invited. So finally, because of the lobbying of Tan Sri Ajit and all that, in 2014, we received a letter from ASEAN Secretariat that they endorses this association. That now you are a civil society organization, that you can use the word ASEAN as ASEAN Tourism Research Association. So finally we got it. And then every year we have to go and report to ASEAN Secretariat what are the activities that we have done. So that's the reporting. On my side, on the Malaysian side, I had to register this association as with the Registrar of Societies as a society. So we needed to give them a report annually as well, before 31st of March. So that's how it all formed. So after about 15 years, after about 10 years, you ask yourself, how can ATRA do better from what it is? Because it's quite known today. Quite a number of people know the association. There are some universities who work closely, has benefited a lot. I think PSU, Dr. Pon Pisanu himself will agree that we have done a lot of work together, including sponsoring some PhD students, getting them to graduate. I think we also did a lot of work on QS, university ranking and all that. So there's just a lot of this work to do. So the question is, what else, how best we can work to benefit the members. The members are the universities. And the university comprises of the academics. So how can we work together closely to help each other? It's a blue ocean thing, you know. It's not a red ocean. You don't kill each other. You don't compete. But you try to collaborate. How can we do that? So we have been going around different countries hosting this forum. What else can we do? So there are many things that we can do, and I have mentioned it in the board meeting many times, that we must, TELUS being the lead, we must show a good example of supporting this initiative. And slowly we can see that quite a number of other universities are active as well. So on this note, I want to thank Lyceum of the Philippine University, of the Philippine, I always forget, Lyceum University, of the Philippines University, because you have been very active in participating in the events and activities organized by ATRA. You are among those who have always been supporting. Please give them a big round of applause. You know? And this year's team, oh my God, is my face there. I got scared. Thought who was it? this year's theme, which is transforming the future of MICE and business events in ASEAN. I think it's very apt, very suitable that it's been designed and all that. You know, we were hit very badly by COVID. And the prediction by UNWTO at that time was by 2024, tourism will bounce back. And it's true enough. In 2024 now, you can see tourism has bounced tremendously. In Malaysia, I think the tourism is doing very well. I think Dato Sri Victor V will be able to pledge that. It's doing very well in Malaysia. We have been a bit more bold in making sure that we give more visa-free travel for a couple of countries that would like to come. And then MICE industry was one of the ones that's very badly hit because COVID is all about not getting together. And you can see that yesterday when I spoke to Shamir, she mentioned that the industry has bounced back very well. When I spoke to the travel agents in Malaysia, I had a recent meeting with them, with all the leaders of the travel businesses. They said, the business cannot be any better. That's how they actually replied to me, which means that they are doing very well. So the industry has bounced back. Any statistics can tell you. In fact, when you speak to the people who work in the industry, they can tell you that they are doing well now. And we need to ask ourselves, for instance, for today's theme, we need to ask ourselves, what will happen in the future, assuming there's no COVID, assuming there's no crisis. We assume that, you know. What is the future of this? Just take MICE as MICE or business events as one. What is the future of this industry? So I was Googling a little bit just before coming here. A lot of people know that I'm very last minute in making my speech. I found that there are some very interesting trends that's actually happening. One is, you realize that hybrid events is growing. And this forum is one simple example. I asked Amar just now, how many people online? She told me that it's close to about 200 people. Is it? 200, right? Close to 200 people online. How many people offline? How many people are here? Probably about, I don't know, 40 people. So you begin to see that, whether you like it or not, hybrid event will be there, and it will always stay. So how do you then capitalize on hybrid event? Okay. So when I Google next about this, there's one article that actually says that today events has become an important public relation tool or marketing tool. What does that mean? It means that a lot of people today, they are not focusing on making money alone on organizing events, but they are focusing on how can we make better PR through events. So the trick is this: 200 people are listening to me. I'm talking about ATRA. I do a little bit of PR about ATRA, and I get 200 people to talk about it. So these are free public relations, free marketing communication strategy that you can use. So it has actually enhanced. So events now has got another phase, which is not only revenue generating, but it is also about PR. So very interesting trends that you can see. There's another article that says that events now shouldn't only focus on content, because used to be events are all on content, but it should focus on experience. Events should give transformational experience. So that is another area. Of course, probably one or two more is on the area, the new trends are on the area of increasing investment in technology and generative AI. You cannot run away from AI today, right? So how do you capitalize on generative AI and technology to make your event even more meaningful? Okay, in terms of trying to organizing it efficiently, or even giving a memorable experience to people. So the last one was about today events are organized with a clear mind that it must have the component of sustainability and DEI. I'm sure you know what is DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusiveness. So that is already another component. So you can see that trends, even in event management, has changed. In Malaysia, the Association for Events is called MASIOS. It's a very long name. The Malaysian Association for Convention, Exhibition and everything, MASIOS, right? And they work very closely with us. In fact, they are one of the industry member of Taylor's and the board members and all that. The former president was Taylor's alumni. So they work very closely with Taylor's, and we get a lot of information about what's happening with the event industry. And you all know, I'm sure you know that in the UK, you find that event management is a course that a lot of students will join. But in this part of the world, I'm not so sure about Philippines, but in Malaysia, I find that it's very slow. It should have had a better growth, but it's very slow. If I've got 500 hospitality students, normally for event management, maybe I've got about 150. So it's rather slow, but I'm a bit surprised because I think the hotels are organizing events. You have sporting events, major sporting events, there's big money. You got exhibitions and conventions has been organized. You got so many different elements of events, right? And there's so much of future in event management actually. If you look at it, you can do general or you can specialize. Like I think XMS. Shamir is specializing on expo and also trade events and all that. So when you have so much of option, I don't understand is why not many students are still hesitating. Unlike in the UK, a lot of students are doing event management and all that. Yeah. I want to end this session by appreciating two people. And we had a board meeting just now. And in the board meeting, I actually, yesterday I spoke to Shamir about can we recognize Lyceum of the Philippines University because of they are so active in supporting the activity of ATRA by having one of their representatives to be in the board of directors. So I'm very thankful that Lyceum of the Philippines University has kindly agreed that Dr. Lilibet Aragon, the Dean herself, to be the board member of ATRA. So I would like to give you a small certificate. Not a certificate, it's a letter. The other person is someone who's very close to us. Dr. Christina Aquino. I tell you the story, then you come. She was an adjunct professor for Taylor's University. Then the last board, because her tenure was almost finishing, in the last board meeting it was proposed that we renew her for the next round of professorship as adjunct professor at Taylor's University. And I said, of course, the board said okay, and I chaired the board. Of course, we say okay for such a wonderful person, right? And so since I'm coming to Manila, I told Amar, why don't you prepare a certificate so that I can give her at the right place at the right time to recognize her. So, Dr. Tina, please. So I think with that I've taken enough time on the stage. Thank you so much for your support, and I look forward for a very fruitful forum today. Thank you.
mission is to form a network or clusters of ASEAN universities so that the researchers could come together in order to work jointly and also contribute to the ASEAN region itself.
Mabuhay! A pleasant afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 15th ASEAN Tourism Research Association Tourism Forum.
Mabuhay! Love the Philippines!
There's so much of future in event management actually. You can do general or you can specialize. It was actually inspired, just to share a little bit of the history of ASEAN Tourism Research Association. It was inspired by someone who was an advisor to the Ministry of Higher Education back in 2011. He called me and he said, why don't you start something that's very different from others? So I said, okay, let's start ASEAN Tourism Research Association. Why don't we do that?
We are very grateful to have our distinguished guests with us today. Thank you for bringing back the sunshine to the Philippines.
The future of MICE, business events in ASEAN, and the progress of the ASEAN MRA TP hinge on innovation, sustainability, and teamwork. Today is the perfect opportunity to come together and enhance these efforts.
And another thing that Thailand has realized is that we have a lot of festivals. We have introduced the concept called festival economy so that we can bring festivals locally up to the international level.
The National Tourism Development Plan of 2023 to 2028 has been approved. And this plan seeks to build a tourism industry that is deeply anchored on Filipino culture, heritage, and identity.
What is next future? Future means not next 5 years. Future is beyond that, right? What is next 2040, 2050? In terms of workforce, we won't have many. So this is where the utilization of AI is important.
We are assured that the Filipino workforce are actually competent and their competencies are recognized and at par with international standards.
The thing that we are expecting, most of my colleagues, is if we have a branding but we don't have a strategic action to support the branding, it's useless. The distance between idea and success is execution. And most of the time, the problem is execution.
We were very fortunate that all the schools selected were actually part of the same region for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
I must congratulate you for all the sharings that you have shared with us for tourism and MICE industry.
Mabuhay! Love the Philippines!
Love the Philippines, love Metro Manila, it all starts here. Mabuhay at maraming salamat. Thank you for your time and attention, and let us work together to continue to transform the future of MICE in ASEAN and beyond.